Sam from Road Trail Run here. I want to give you my thoughts on what I see as the 5 best daily trainers of late 2019 and early 2020. On the right, we have the Skechers Performance Go Run Ride 8. Then we have the New Balance Fresh Foam 1080 V10. And then the Nike React Infinity Flyknit, and then the Asics GEL-Nimbus Lite, and finally the Salomon Sonic 3 Balance. The last 3 will be coming out January, February timeframe, and the first 2 are already in the market. So what do we have here? Well, they have a lot of things in common as daily trainers. I generally consider a daily trainer to be a shoe that weighs less than 10 ounces or 283 grams. The lightest is the Skechers at 9.3 ounces. And the heaviest is the Sonic Balance at 9.9 ounces or 281 grams, all in the US size 9. So, but weight isn't everything. All of these shoes have different rides and different purposes, different midsoles. So let's talk about the midsoles first. The Skechers has the Hyperburst foam, which is EVA based. It's very springy and sprightly, and it also allows the shoe to be very light for its stack height. So it has a 33 millimeter heel and a 27 millimeter forefoot. So it has the biggest stack of any of the shoes here, and the lightest weight. But that isn't everything. We'll get to that. Next, we have the Fresh Foam, New Balance Fresh Foam 1080 V10. It has New Balance's Fresh Foam that's been around for a few years. In this instance, they've, as you can see, made the shapes bigger, so we get a bit more deforming. They're a little softer. It relies on a rocker to move you along. So that's a traditional kind of ride. It's definitely responsive and quick, but it's not the softest of the bunch. Next, we have the fairly radical Nike React Infinity. It has React foam. As you can see, it has a very flared outsole as well as a very flared heel. The gray you see is a light bit of stability. It runs very close to a neutral shoe. It too is very, very well cushioned with 33 millimeters at the heel, 27 millimeters at the forefoot, and has a very, very broad base. We'll look at the outsoles where you'll be able to see that. So it sits between a stability and a neutral shoe, and of all the shoes, it's about the most cushioned feeling, right up there with the Skechers. Next, we have the Asics Nimbus GEL-Nimbus Lite. The Nimbus Lite has a new kind of flight foam. It's not the flight foam you may recall from prior Asics. It is super bouncy. This is the bounciest shoe of the bunch. It's also the most flexible. That new flight foam is made in part from biomass that's been recycled into it for, I guess, what they call cellulose nanofibers that hold it all together. A very bouncy, fun ride. Finally, over here we have the Sonic 3 Balance from Salomon. It has an all-new midsole package of olefin, the white, you see, which gives it a really good rebound, whereas the Skechers might be springy and our Asics is bouncy. This is rebound. It really sits somewhere between the two, so it's a very stable, very predictable, consistent ride. And it also has at the heel, the teal piece is a vibration reducing element called J-pad. Super effective. Vibration leads to muscle fatigue, leads to general fatigue, and can lead to cramps. So this is the, if you will, the most purposeful ride of the bunch. I find it to be probably the fastest of the bunch, despite it being a bit heavier. Now let's keep going with uppers. Here we have a really simple engineered mesh on the Salomon. It has the highest toe box volume. and is right up there with the Nike in terms of width. So this is a great shoe for slightly wider feet. It fits my medium feet super well. It's a simple upper. You can see there's a molded tongue. Nothing fancy, but it works really well. A little hard to see in the shadows here, but it has Salomon Sonic fit bands at the midfoot. You get a great midfoot lockdown. The Asics has a very soft, pliable, engineered mesh upper. It's the softest upper of the bunch. You also have Skechers' characteristic clutch at the heel, so you're super well held here with a lot of comfort. It's not the widest, but I think it's probably the most comfortable feeling shoe of the group. And there's a lot of recycled materials in the upper, going with a sustainability story. Finally, next we've got our React Infinity from Nike. This is a new kind of Flyknit I've seen it described as lofted. We have a much wider toe box here than just about any Nike. I can feel it as a super comfortable feeling upper with a great fit. A little bit looser in the heel because you see there's not much padding, but it's really, really a fine upper. If you're familiar with prior Flyknit uppers, this is nothing like it. I found, for example, the Epic React uppers, certainly the 1 and the 2, very snug at midfoot, low over the toes. Same with the Vaporfly Flyknit. This is something completely different. So this is focused on comfort and long miles with some stability. Finally, the the 1080 from New Balance has a stretch engineered knit upper, and the white you see there, the white lines are actually trace fibers. They're stitched in. That provides the support. This is the most performance fitting upper of the group. It is super comfortable for me all the way through the toe, where it's a bit low. That stretch, I have a bad toenail, kind of a little bit low. But if you want a really dialed in fit, this is the one. The Skechers has a circular knit upper, not a lot of stretch, but some. It's a very good kind of all-around upper. I have no issues with it. It fits really well, true to size. Now let's talk about the ride of these all of these beauties. So if we start over on the left, the Sonic Balance is really the most if you will, performance-oriented ride of the bunch. It has a lot of rebound, the vibration attenuation. It handles almost all paces except very slow, really, really well. If we look underneath, and we'll start to look at our outsoles here, it has Salomon's Conta Grip outsole. There's a lot of rubber here. This should last a long, long time, along with that olefin midsole. Decent grip. We think it'll serve for light trail duty as well. It would be a great shoe for a non-technical 50K if you don't trail 50K if you don't have any mud and such. Now our Asics has a very, very bouncy dynamic ride, completely unlike any other Asics. And as I said, it's also the it's like any other Asics. And as I said, it's also kind of the most fun ride of the bunch. It's not a shoe I'd run all my daily training in, but if you want a shoe just to go out and go fast, have fun with a lot of cushioning, this would be my choice. If you're looking for a bit of stability and you're looking for a kind of a recovery shoe, if you're neutral, or even if you pronate because of our clip that goes all the way around, or if you're neutral like me, the Nike is the pick. This is a shoe for more moderate paces than, say, the Salomon or even the Nimbus Lite or the New Balance and the Skechers. So this is the easygoing kind of shoe in the bunch. It would serve as a really nice recovery shoe. The 1080, this is a responsive ride, fairly firm in the heel. I find it probably the firmest heel of any of them. Relies on a rocker, which is really effectively done. It's a big improvement over the prior 1080, which was very, very stiff. If you look underneath, you'll see they've really segmented the outsole much better than before. And I forgot, we didn't look at our Nike. We'll go back to that one. On our Nike, you can see the giant forefoot pad, which is reminiscent of the Next Percent, and also a very wide heel landing, about as wide as any Nike I've seen. It probably has the most stack. I think it definitely has the most stack, other than the Next Percent and the Vaporfly of any Nikes. So this is a really stable platform. But what I like about it here also is you can see how carved out the midfoot is. So the transitions are really quite easy. So apologies for skipping around. Now our Skechers has that wonderful Hyperburst, which is really one of the best foams out there. However, it does not have as much rocker. So for me, this is a shoe that I really prefer for slower paces. I find I really can't pop off the toe. Now, everybody's a bit different, but I either prefer a more pronounced rocker, as on the Nike or the New Balance, or a more flexible shoe where I can toe off the front, like the Asics and the New Balance. So all these shoes are either in the market, these two, the New Balance and the Skechers. The other three are coming, let's see, check my notes. The Sonic Balance is February. The Nimbus, the GEL-Nimbus Lite is also February. And the Nike should be mid to early, mid January or so. They're all great choices. They're all shoes I'm enjoying running in a lot. So just in final summary, the quick one of the bunch is our Sonic Balance 3. The fun, fast one with a lot of bounce, the GEL-Nimbus Lite. The stable recovery shoe and more moderate pace with a lot of cushion, our React Infinity. The high performance kind of speed oriented trainer, but with a rocker as opposed to a flex, the 1080 V10. And for me, a good all-arounder, but probably not as focused on speed as some of the others, the very well cushioned Skechers Go Run Ride 8. So thank you very much for watching. We have full reviews of all the shoes as of right now, except the React Infinity, which I'll be putting up very soon. Thank you very much for watching, and happy holidays from snowy, cold New Hampshire.